What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jay-Z Bottom Lip, and today we're gonna be breaking down Conan. I think, in my opinion, Conan is really good at being a harasser. I think everything about this character screams what Raiko would want to be, as far as a grappler, but also a harasser. But that being said, this character does extremely well in your face, having you guess off of its stance. Not only just playing off of its stance, but also playing off of its armor. Then on top of that, not just those two, but also playing off of spacing as well. And what I mean by that is this character excels at the distance of its forward two. But not only does this character excel at its distance of its forward two, again, it excels at canceling off of certain strings in particular that have gaps in them. So since your string have gaps in them, there's a few things that your opponent may do, and you can kind of OS them. What I mean by that is that you can actually armor where your opponent could armor, and you have 3 sets of armors that you can abuse or use. And why I use those 2 different words is because you can actually do a few things that a lot of other characters can't necessarily do anymore, but you can do it in particular, which is usually do a down poke into a special move that necessarily jails. So this right here jails, but you can actually armor through the last hit. This makes it very situational on when you would like to do something like this. You can also even use a cameo to make yourself relatively safe or plus. So I'm going to set the AI to versal, and they're going to try to shadow kick. So if I do this, as you can tell, he can armor through the last hit. So it becomes very situational when you want to do this. But on top of that, you can even make it safe with a cameo that can actually time it perfectly and make your opponent get hit. Then on top of that, you can also cancel this into another string on hit. This is really good for kind of just thinking that your opponent is going to take their turn back after a poke. You can do a few things in particular. Johnny, in this case, has a really good armor, so it's really hard to jail him. But this in particular jails against certain characters. This also jails as well against certain characters, but again, I guess it's more in the corner. But this one jails the most if you would like to go for something like that. You can also do things like this. I'm gonna get it. Yes, I can't do it. Really hard against Johnny. Man, Johnny has like the best wake up in the game, but it's really hard to do against Johnny. I really wanted to show you this because this is really strong, depending on when you want to use it. It also jails off of your strings that have gaps. So like this string has a gap in it, as you can tell, like right here. You can actually make it safe by doing this. But then you also, again, can use your cameo to make yourself relatively safe. Another thing that I like about Conan is that he has a lot of setups. He also has different ways to kind of jail you, pressure you, and make you feel like you don't know when to take your turn. I think that's where he excels the most. I think the cons to this character is that his movement is kind of slow. And then like a lot of times he has a lot of highs, but the highs are going to be there to help you, and it's going to make sense a lot shortly. I think the next thing that I think that this character struggles with is not having many options in the neutral to kind of stay in the neutral. But the beautiful thing that I like about this character is that he actually rewards you depending on what cameo you play with by turtling. I think his turtle is pretty strong. If you have really good neutral, you can kind of put your opponent in a situation where they're trying to whiff punish you, which essentially is considered shadow boxing, because they're going to be throwing buttons out and buffering them into buttons or special moves or so. So you can kind of like bait your opponent into thinking that you're going to use forward 2. And since your forward 2 is so strong, it's going to bait your opponent into wanting to try to whiff punish you, which essentially allows you to get close to your opponent or close enough to whiff punish them or put them in a situation they don't want to be in. I wanted to show you guys a few things in particular that stood out to me with this character. And basically, it requires like good spacing. So A lot of people were complaining about how this character has a lot of gaps in him. And I think this is the beautiful thing about this character and what makes him a harasser or makes your opponent feel like they don't know when to press. So a lot of people were complaining about this string and how it's a bad string just because you can armor through the second hit. And some characters like Ermac can armor and then actually get a combo and then put you in a situation you don't want to be in, which is getting Oki, and then put you in a situation where you have to get a strike throw. That being very strong with Ermac, you can actually even bait it. But before I show you Ermac, I wanted to show you Johnny. So what I'm about to show you is basically you can utilize your armor to make yourself safe, but also punish your opponent for trying to armor through your gaps. Because the only way you can get through my gaps is if you armor. So if you did something like this, you can bait your opponent's. You can armor right there. I'm gonna get it for you. Right there. And then you can kind of like use a cameo that complements you in whatever way possible. But the trick is you have to use this from a max distance when you do use the string. If you use it up close like this, it won't allow you to. So I'm gonna get it for you. This is only specifically for Johnny, just because Johnny's armor move is really strong. So I'm gonna get it for you. Right there. So hard. Just like that. And you can lead into combos, or you can kind of punish him. It's hard to punish with this string. So like, if he does do that string, it's really hard to go for this after it. So just be careful on how you want to punish Johnny. But if you do play with like Kano, it makes things relatively easy. And I think for this video, I'm going to kind of use Kano to explain a lot of things so you understand what to use. So again, you can do things like this. Hold on. Back here. Put it on reversal. And then from there, you can kind of like cancel. Want to get it. You can punish that way too. And you can kind of utilize that. Another thing that's really cool about this character is that he has a restand. And his restand is +8, which allows him to jail off his stand 1. And this is where it gets a little tricky, but it also gets really cool. Is that after you do 2-2 into a restand, you can start creating mind games off of a few things. So you can do this into a grab. You can also even do 1-1, and then you can kind of cancel again into a grab. But then you also can do your overhead, which is going to be essentially better than actually doing this string, because this string is -7, and since it's -7, it's essentially your opponent's turn, and they can jail you off of a 7-frame high, and you don't really want that. So doing things like this is really strong. This is also +1, as you can see. I'm not sure exactly what it is in the corner. I'm hoping that it's still +1 in the corner. Let's try it out. Yeah, so since it's +1 in the corner, this is actually really good. From here, you can do what I was telling you. You can even do down poke, you can parry, or you can do what I was telling you earlier, which is like this on block. And depending on what cameo you're using, you can kind of like even go for more mix off of that as well. So like when you do this string, you can call Jax, and then you can be more annoying. So I guess I'll just show you Jax as well. I'm showing you all types of stuff. So you can do this really quick. Let me show you. So let's say that you went for the string. You can do something like this and keep your turn. Your opponent's gonna have to armor to get out of that, because essentially this is really good. So again, this is more situational depending on if you're going to be using Jax. and is also situational if you have conditioned your opponent to respect you after this string. I believe it jails, but it also can be armored, so just be careful. This doesn't have an armor gap, but this has an armor gap, so just be careful. You can actually bait your opponent if you want by canceling. So since this move has a cancel, you can actually bait your opponent into armor, depending on what string. And your animations change depending on what string you do with that cancel. So like if I did this, it looks like that, right? But if I use this string, it'll make me look like I'm running. I guess it's more in the corner or in full screen, like that. So I'm running at you off of this string, but this string, I stay stationary. So it kind of throws off your opponent just for a slight second. That's all you need to kind of like create a mind game. Another cool thing about this character is that he has a parry. I think his parry is really good. And the reason why I think it's really good, because this string right here is +2, which is really strong, but it has a down 1 gap. So if your opponent wanted to challenge here, they can. Right there. So what you can do is something like this, and then you'll be able to use your back 2, which essentially lets you do a combo and kind of punish your opponent for trying to mash after this string in particular. And you have enough time to go into a lot of different combo routes, so have fun with that. Totally up to you guys to find out what you like and what you prefer to use with the setup. So again, you do have utilization for the string right here. This requires conditioning your opponent to respect it or disrespect it, totally up to you. But once you recognize that your opponent is poking, there's a few things that you can do. You can keep doing the string because they're going to think that you're not going to do it just because they've been poking, or they're going to start armoring to kind of like deal with it. But those are going to be the two options. From there, you can parry. You can even parry the armor move, depending on what move it is in particular. And then on top of that, what makes it really strong is that your opponent don't really have too many options to that string itself. So again, it's really strong. You can even bait them by doing something like this and then taking your turn back. You can even punish them for doing that, because down pokes are punishable. So okay, I guess Johnny just has a poke I can't punish back. There we go. But yeah, you can punish it back. Then from there, you can do like a stand poke, make them guess. Totally up to you. It's really strong. Now, in my opinion, I don't think you should be canceling after every string, just because sometimes the cancels are really fast with that string in particular. So I'm going to again set Johnny to reversal with the kick. Now, this string in particular has a gap, and the overhead has a gap as well. And what I showed you earlier with the whole thing right here, you don't want to do it really with this string because it's too fast. So it wouldn't make sense to do that there. Right here, you can just cancel and then bait your opponent, and you can kind of just punish them for trying to armor there if they decide to, or if you condition them enough to hit them with the lower overhead and they don't want to guess and they can just armor. But again, you can just kind of just do this and then bait them to basically armor. Again, your armor move with this move in particular only has armor on startup. It doesn't have armor all the way through. So just be aware of that, if that makes sense. And kind of be a little more, I guess the word, lack of better terminology, is understanding of why you don't want to just do this full screen. You kind of don't want to do that, so try to stay away from that. You can just kind of just bait your opponent. It's kind of like quicker than moving, I guess. It's about the same, but just having an animation of a run kind of throws your opponent off, and it also makes them feel like they have to shadow box or whiff punish you or buffer a string into a special move, kind of. So they'll be throwing buttons out. From there, you can kind of just like whiff punish them themselves for trying to whiff punish you, or whatever the case may be. It's totally up to you, but it also creates another mental stack or a mind game, depending on what you have been doing the whole entire match itself. Another thing that I like about this character is this string. And the reason why I like this string is because it allows you to utilize this string in particular. your opponent can wake up. They can punish you for doing it. So I'm going to show you the setup that I came up with that I try to figure out how to utilize, because I was thinking like about this string and how you can utilize it, because this string is actually plus 10 on block. This move is okay. Johnny, calm down. So this move is actually plus 10, which essentially gels to your stand 1. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. So pretty sure you guys want to see what that looks like. So I'm going to basically jail him off of my string. So I'm gonna do this, and as you can tell, he can't armor at all. So again, boom, that's all safe, and it jails. So that's something I came up with. But what you can do, depending on what you have done already in the match and how you want to create mind games, layers, so on and so forth, you can do something like this. Show you something real quick, something basic. And they would have to delay wake up to get out of that. Again, it jails. So the setup again will look something like this. Again, all that gels, so your opponent have to hold that. So you put them in a situation that they don't want to be in, which is also very strong as well. What you also can do is, depending on what cameo you're using, I'm going to use Jax for this example, is that you can actually even do it after a combo as well, rather than doing it in the middle of a combo. So again, I'm going to set him to this shadow kick on wake up. So then we're going to do I guess I went too far to the corner. Let's go to the left. Let's go over here so I can show you. Oh, totally forgot what I was doing. Again, I forgot what I was doing. Okay, I remember. For whatever reason, he does not wake up there. I don't know why he doesn't do it sometimes. It's actually kind of annoying. But yeah, after this string, you do. Oh, I guess because I have him on reversal, obviously. God damn. But yeah, you could do this. So let's just say I did the full string. You can do that, but he's actually already like pressing. You can also do it after this string as well. So I probably prefer to do it after this string against Johnny, but you can do it against anybody other than Johnny. Hold on. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, and then from there you can kind of like punish your opponent. You can do a whole bunch of cool things as well. But again, I suck with doing the setup, but I know for a fact that it works. But I think it's just Johnny is really strong. But yeah, that also works and is really strong, especially if like your opponent's kind of close or relatively close to the corner. You can create mind games off of that. You can also break armor. You can also even do it in the neutral as well. So like if you're just playing neutral with your opponent and you kind of want to skip neutral, you can use these. You can use these, in my opinion, as far as in like the knives, because they're better because your opponent is most likely going to be ducking low because they're going to be trying to like whiff punish you for trying to throw it out or whatever, or like bait you or OS you so you don't get close. But what you can do is when you do Kano knives is that you can be in range of this, and then you can go and get a combo that way as well. You can also even make yourself safe, also plus as well, and kind of just bait your opponent into thinking that they can take their turn. Essentially, they can't. The only way they can actually deal with that is just backing up and just taking the Kano knives, I guess, or just neutral ducking from a range where they OS both, but then that would be kind of tricky because if you learn the timing, they can't do either, and you'll be able to just do something like this and then combo after and stuff like that. It's really strong. Another thing that I've learned in by playing with this character is that you actually can even OS armor on wake up, and I'm going to show you what that looked like as well. So after you do a combo, you can actually even bait your opponent for trying to press buttons on wake up. So again, it will look something like this. Hold on. I'm just gonna do something simple. So like you can bait your opponent with 1-1. I would recommend, like, if you're playing against certain characters like Johnny, you would probably do 1-1 and then you would kind of buffer your armor. You don't really want to do this string against Johnny because he's too quick. I'm going to show you another character that you can kind of bait. That's, in my opinion, is probably going to be a lot easier. I can see this character having more bad matchups than good matchups. So he's one of those characters that you want to have on your roster for situational purposes. But I also think on the contrary, that if depending on who the player is, this character does really well against half the roster. I think he just struggles with zoning, and it doesn't matter what character you play because cameos can do the exact same thing that characters can do, depending on what cameo that you're playing. You're just going to have to be a lot more patient with this character, and this character is going to teach you things like footsies, fundamentals, spacing. It's also going to teach you how to whiff punish. It's also going to teach you how to shimmy. Also going to teach you how to utilize your armor, which essentially is baiting. So many things in particular that this character will teach you. But at the same time, in Mortal Kombat 1, there's so many skip neutral or BS stuff that's in the game that kind of like takes away or hinders you in some cases. But I also think that your armor is really good and make up for it, essentially because you have 3 different armor wake ups, and they all can help you in certain cases, and they can also help you break armor depending on what armor move that you use as well. So for this example, I'm going to use smoke really quick. I'll use smoke because I was actually kind of curious about this team, and then I'll show you Havoc as well.
Citadel.
Okay, let's do center. Okay, so set him to wake up, get up on. Gotta find his move. I think this is it right here. I'm not sure. Okay, this is his move, right? So let's say I did my string. I knocked him to the ground. Right? You can bait his armor just like that with forward 2. You can't do this against every character, but when you learn the matchup of what character that you can armor against, it's really strong. So again, I'll show you a full combo. Hold on, I'm so sorry. Why does that keep happening? That's not what I'm doing. That's crazy. And then from here, you can actually punish it. I'm not sure. Let me see really quick. I haven't tested it yet, but like, let me see something. Let me see something. I'm gonna try something. Yeah, I don't think you can punish with that. I wanted to see if I can punish with that. Yeah, I have a bad habit of calling Kano. You can also call Kano that way as well. So what you can do is after you do this, keep calling Kano combo. And then from here you can get a combo. Hold on, I'm gonna get it for you guys. Hold on. I'm not armoring now. It won't. Like something like that. My gracious, that took forever. But yeah, you can kind of bait. You can bait him into thinking that he can armor. You can actually even OS this. Like it's not hard to do at all. Like this after you do it, and you know you can even do it through your gas as well. So like if he wanted to armor your gas, he actually dies for doing it. And then it's not even just him. It's every character in the game so far. So set him to all. Hold on. I don't know why my armor is not coming out. Oh, I am armoring. Oh, I don't. Hold on. Is this character? Nah, I don't think I can armor. I think you would have to just bait him. What was it again? Yeah. I don't think you can bait him into armor in here. I think it's only on wake up. So if you do get a combo, you can't necessarily do it on block against this character just because of how slow his how slow his armor move is. That by the time that you armor it, it's already absorbed, or the hits are no longer there, or the armor isn't there. Again, it's on startup, so it only works on startup. And again, since his armor is kind of slow, it probably does not work. I think this also works with Havoc as well, because Havoc doesn't have really fast armor, so you can utilize that against him on wake up or on block as well. He's one of those characters. You can even do it against Ermac. You can also do it against Cyrex as well. So I'm going to show you that. Which one did I say I was going to show you? Talking a lot. Yeah, I said Havoc. So let's try Havoc really quick, because he's the most annoying characters in the game. Say any sauce with Sector? Not necessarily yet right now. Again, if your opponent wants to wake up armor, they most likely can't. I gotta find this. Did this move? Okay, so you can actually do yours a lot more later against this character. Hold on. I'm gonna get it for you. And then from here, you can kind of like get what you want with this character, and it's really good. It's really strong as well. Your anti-airs are really good too. I'm going to show you a few anti-airs that you can use. I know this video is kind of long, but I know this character. I'm going to go into depth with this character, so I don't have to make a part 2. So again, your back one is really good for anti-airing. Really good. You can actually even get a restand off of it. You also can utilize it like this. So you utilize it like that, in my opinion. Be careful though, because it can whiff. So just be careful with that. But it's gonna look just like what I'm showing you. So like if your opponent's jumping, you can punish it that way. Now, if you do it too low, like this, it won't combo. So just be careful. Make sure that you're confident and that you're anti-airing at the highest point, because from here you can do so many things. Because you can do this, restand, and then have them guess or so, depending on what you want to do. So again, your back one's going to be really strong, and your stand 3 is going to be really strong to anti-air. You can also use back 2 as well, but I just feel like back 2 is a little too slow. It's 14 frames, and this one is 13 frames as well, and this is 11 frames. So like you can do things like this. Hold on. I got too many characters on my mind. How's that not coming up? Weird. You can do things like that. That's weird. But yeah, you can do things like that. Back one. You can even do it twice. Like something like this. If you want to just hard knockdown. Totally up to you. meterless. If you want to save your meter, restand, whatever it is. You can even bait your opponent to jump, because after you do restand, they're going to try to like jump. So I'm going to do this, restand, then jump. And from there, you can do whatever you want. You're going to have them jump in, restand, jump. You stand back up slightly, and then from there, it's just your world. Totally up to what you want to do with the character. As far as in damage, again, it's totally up to you, but you should be getting 30, at least 30 every touch. If you use armor, or if you don't, if you use a bar, or if you don't use a bar. So just keep that in mind. Always be around the 30 mark range when it comes to combos. Don't worry about like doing a bunch of damage in one combo. He's not necessarily supposed to be played like that, because again, you're going to be using your armor for different reasons as well. So just keep that in mind. Don't spend all your meter on resources, and you shouldn't be doing too much damage off of one combo anyway. So they kind of reward you with this character when it comes to utilizing your armor, utilizing setup. So like, again, like I showed you earlier, you can do like this. Hold on. And then utilize plus frames. And then you can use it like that as well. Just depending on how you want to play. It's so many cool things that you can do about this. You could do with this character, in my opinion. So just utilize it. Have fun with the character. That's plus right there. So again, you can kind of just bait your opponent into pressing. Again, that's really strong. This is also really good depending on what cameo you use. You can kind of use this to get in, or just create mind games and just be funny with. But I would necessarily wouldn't use it. I would consider this like a forbidden string to use unless you're comboing. So just be careful. I also think this string is really good if you can do instant airs. If you can do instant airs, this string becomes very good. And the reason why I think this string becomes very good, because once you start jumping and your opponent knows that you're going to up block right here, they're going to try to up block, you can do things like this. And then you can kind of create your mind games from here, like that, with Kano, depending on what you want to do. It's not necessary, but at the same time, you could just utilize it for whatever reason. It's also really good, again, if you know how to do instant airs. If you know how to do instant airs, it's going to be really strong, because it's -5 on block. And again, like I said, it's pretty strong. So just keep that in mind. I also like his combos, that he can actually combo this into a actual move. Right after he does the original special move that I showed you, you can cancel this, and then you can actually even cancel this into not only just another string like I just showed you right here, but you can actually even do it into another combo as well. So you can do something like this. Hold on. Hold on, I'm so sorry. How's that happening? And then to a restand, totally up to you and what you want to do. He also has a grab combo, which is going to be your 2-2, and he also has it off of his 4, his 4-2, and then grab. These are really strong too, just for the simple reason that you can actually cancel this and then kind of bait your opponent. You don't want to use armor here, because again, it's too slow and it's too fast at the same time. So what I mean by that is it's too fast. So it's too fast to cancel there to catch your opponent armoring. So you'll be wasting a bar there. So by the time that they armor it, it's too slow to absorb the hits of the armor. So you don't want to armor here. So if you want to do anything, just do the string and then cancel it, kind of just bait them to armor. And then from there, if they do armor, you'll have enough time to actually spend another bar. So you can do things like this and then armor if you want. I guess I could show you. I guess this is the best thing to do, right? So you could do something like this. Hold on. I guess I just suck. And then from here, you can do whatever you want. So again, you have this string, just like that. So if you want, you could just do that. You can even buffer it too, like just right after you do it. You could just do it again. It's totally up to you. Like whatever. So I think that's really strong as well. He also has this string. I love this string because you can actually bait your opponent into pressing here, or you can just jail him. See how you can't armor at all there? And you can use a cameo like that to make yourself even more plus, and it jails to highs. I mean, it jails on block too, so even if your opponent is ducking, they are going to get hit by the knives as well. You can actually even jail them off that string as well. So like if your opponent is ducking off of the string, you can actually even jail them. So what I mean by that is that jails there. So they have to hold all of that. Even if they try to up block here, they got to hold all that. So utilize as much as you want with this character, and cameos I think is really strong. I also heard a lot of people saying that this character is only getting combo extensions with cameo, but I think since this move is -7 that leads into a launcher is really strong, because you can actually just throw the string out and you can bait your opponent to armor as well, like I showed you originally. So just keep that in mind, because you can actually do this and then bait your opponent. So like everything is situational with this character, and there's a lot of baiting your opponent. And what I mean by that is if you utilize your mid enough, you can start using your highs. So essentially what's going to happen is you're going to start using this string. Then you can kind of like throw this string out and then backdash to another string that is a mid, because they're going to be looking for a high. You can also do things like this as well, which is a string he has where you can cancel. This string right here, this will help you OS timing. So basically what I mean by that is that like a lot of times when you do certain strings, you could do stand 1 and then it would throw off the it's like OSing the timing of when your opponent can wake up. So it will help you. So you can use this for that reason. You can also cancel this into an actual grab. Like that. Sorry. Suck. I don't know why I suck so bad. But yeah, you can utilize it like that. I think it's really strong. I would try to use this as much as possible. Again, I think you should utilize this as much as possible, just because it's really good for OSing. You can cancel and then go in here, kind of throws your opponent off. And since you can cancel it, you can actually shimmy your opponent with 1-1. You can also shimmy them with this string as well. A lot of people get shimmied off this string. So again, these are going to be your string that you're going to shimmy your opponent off of. This is going to be your entire string. This is also going to be a good string to break armor, that string, and also this string as well. These two strings break armor. You're going to be using this a lot more to break armor, because it's multiple hits really quick. Those 2 hits after the first hit, they come out kind of quick and relatively quick. So you will probably whiff the first hit and then just go into the last 2 hits. If they are on hard knockdown, then from there you can kind of break their armor and then combo however you want to do it. There's so many things that you can talk about with this character that it's so much. This move is really good for just extending combos. I don't think you really want to use this string for anything else necessarily, but you can cancel into grab off of this string that I think is really strong. You can also use it just like we were talking about with this string. And since you actually can see the animation of the character, it's a lot better, because this one is kind of like, it's kind of fast. Like it's hard to actually react to this on hard knockdown. Usually like, what am I looking at? So you can actually just cancel this into grab. You can actually even OS this into an actual move. So like if your opponent does wake up and they get hit, you have enough time to actually buffer this string and hit confirm. It's not hard. Kind of like reigns back too. You can kind of just OS it if your opponent does get hit, and you can combo off of it. Really strong string that I recommend that you try to use. So he has a lot of the like good pressure that he can use on hard knockdown, in my opinion. Another thing that he has a quote unquote, with parentheses on the side, a projectile. This is really good just for, just throwing your opponent, throwing this at your opponent, but also them taking damage if they don't react in time. You can jump backwards. I think of it like Rain God from Rain, where if he throws the bubble at you or the water bubble at you, all you have to do is just initially jump backwards and you'll dodge it. But this is also just pretty good to throw at your opponent because they think that they can press here or so, or not press, but like they are just sitting in the neutral and you can't get to them. You can just throw that. You also have a move that allows you to come back like Jason from MKX, but it does have a 16 second duration. So just keep that in mind when you are using it, which is essentially going to be this string. Even if it doesn't do the whole blood, you still get the little bit of blood on you, and you'll be able to come back. So what I mean by that is that if someone like threw a projectile at you in the middle of the animation, you'll still have the blood on you, which essentially allows you to come back again, like I said. So again, try to utilize that as much as possible. I think it's also really strong if you have a great comeback factor. And again, if you're playing a character that gives you armor, a cameo that gives you armor or allows you to get in easier on your opponent, you also get another chance at using a fatal blow. I think that's also very strong, in my opinion. Then I didn't talk about Shibata, but he also has an overhead, just like the low that launches, but he also has an overhead that he can use as well that's really strong. He does have a lot of overheads and he doesn't have any lows. So just keep that in mind, except for this string. But everything else is just going to be an overhead. So like this string, overhead, this string, kind of a throw, but yeah, like you just have so many different strings that go into like an overhead. Even this string, like I showed you earlier, this string is not an overhead, but still a good string. This also launches, so you'll be using this a lot just for like shimmy purposes. And if they get shimmy, you can kind of like combo. You can up block this. This is going to be your armor. Let me explain the armor. So this is your armor moves. This right here is also your armor move, and again, this is going to be your armor move. So you have, again, 3 armor moves that you can use and kind of bait your opponent into pressing. So you can use this a lot too. You can also even do like things that kind of throw your opponent off it, like this string, and then call a cameo to make yourself relatively safe. I think that is really strong. And I also like this string because depending on what cameo you use, you can actually even get a little cool combo as well, which essentially looks like this. On. I think that's really cool as well. He also has his sword, which absorbs projectiles, which is really good for Jax as well. If you choose to play with Jax, you could do things like this. And it's all safe and you don't take any chip from it. So I recommend utilizing this. Do things like that. He also is pretty cheap with this team because you can actually even do something like this. So I'm gonna put him on auto block. So again, let's say that I get a combo, right? Yeah, remember I told you that this gels. So stand a 2-2 off a restand is +8. So then you could just do this on block and your opponent can jump. So I'm gonna set him to actually, I can set him to duck first to show you. So let's say I did the string, right? Did the whole string. Oh, sorry. That gels, as you can tell. Then I'm gonna set him to jump so you can see it as well. Let him land. And he can't jump there. So that's kind of like guaranteed. You don't have to do stand 1. You can do 1-1 into it. That's also really strong as well. So like, let's say I did this. I'm gonna do, hold on. Let's just do the full string again. You could do that. 1-1. So again, it gels, and it's also really strong for just like getting that little bit of chip from your opponent. Once your opponent starts jumping in the middle of your setup, though, Jax is going to stay on the screen, and you can keep using him. over and over and putting your opponent in situations that they don't want to be in. You can also bait them the armor, and this is when the fun and the magic starts to happen. There's so many things that you can talk about with this character that is pretty insane. You also get combos with Janet off of your throws. Yes, I know some people are probably wondering, like, do you get throw combos? You do get throw combos, especially with Janet and also with Scorpion. They're a little harder to do. Like, Scorpions is a lot harder to do, but it's not a lot that you can get. But if you put your opponent right here, you get combos off of it. That's also really strong. I think Jax is also pretty strong too because he gives you cool little combos. And then you can do that as well. Also pretty strong for that purpose. Serena's really good because she also gives you really quick meter. Like if you're sitting in a neutral and people are running away from you, you can just build meter with Serena. So she's very situational for this character. Sector, I haven't really found much with Sector. Jinko gives you a lot of damage off of meterless or with one bar. I think that's also very strong. Sub-Zero just allows you to use your back two a lot more. Tremor allows you to utilize him in ways where you don't have to spend resources, which is pretty strong. I haven't found a reason to use Cyrex right now. Farah is pretty strong just for your four down forward too. There isn't really there isn't really many things you could do with Farah. I mean, yeah, you could probably just do a string into Farah and then hit low. It's totally up to you. I think Gora's also pretty good just for being a safety net. If your opponent wants to armor or up block or whatever the case may be, you can actually just bait them for whatever reason that you're looking for. Kung Lao will probably just add the low factor to your character since you're all overheads, which will probably essentially help you. That's about it. Movado just allows you to go for more of your tick throws, so like 2-2 grab or a 4-2 grab, or even just a raw grab. You can get a combo off of it, and it's pretty good. Now, when you use Movado and you do the tick throws, it doesn't nerf your throw damage. So like if you do use like an actual throw like this, it's gonna nerf your damage, obviously, if you can see. But if I go for an actual like grab combo, you're gonna get good damage off of your throw combo. And again, that's also really, really strong. I like the armor in this with this character. Like I love this move because it's kind of like a get off me card. You can also just do the armor launch and that's it, and kind of bait your opponent and trying to up block or whatever the case may be, just to make yourself kind of relatively safe, but at the same time you're not safe. It kind of reminds me of Peacemaker move when he jumps up in the air and he tries to land on you. Like even if you up block, you still have enough time to actually punish him, or you have enough time to take your turn back for him trying to like jump on you and cancel it rather than actually falling through with the second hit. It's just for up blocking reasons. You can still have enough time to punish, and you also have enough time to even armor as well. I think that's about it for this character. I think that's literally everything that's about this character. Yeah, I honestly think that was everything. I think I touched on literally everything about this character. Yeah, that's it. I think your down two is trash. I think this is insanely ass. You have a big ass sword. You're gonna use your elbow to uppercut. I don't even think he's using a sword. I think he's using his elbow. But anyway, I think his down two is really trash. It's very situational to use your down two, in my opinion. Like, be careful using your down two. And it's super negative, as you can tell. 41 on block, like that's literally insane. But anyway. I think your back two is probably way stronger than the down two, which is sad. But anyway, I think he has like a Shiva from MK11 down two, in my opinion, or maybe even worse, or even like RoboCop. But I think RoboCop probably has a better one. But anyway, I think that's literally everything about this character that I covered so far that I've found with this character. So again, this character is really good at whiff punishing. This character is really good at using armor moves. This character is also really good at creating reversal mind games that you think is your turn. He also has a good parry that you can parry off of. He also has different ways to actually even punish you. Another last thing that I'm going to talk about is that you can actually use something like this. Like you can cancel into Fatal Blow. You can also cancel this into Cameo or go into another string that I showed you earlier. And it does relatively good damage. I'm not pressing all the buttons right now to get a little more damage. So as you can tell, I'm still doing 40% from a combo or a simple combo. It did call it two bars, but you don't have to necessarily do that. You can even do this and get good damage off of, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people are probably wondering where you think he is on the tier list. I think this character is more like A tier, just because he has literally everything that you need in the character. Different mind games. He has overheads. He has a low. He has a few things to kind of like bait you. He has tick throws, or he has an actual throw. He has different cameos that he can utilize, not only 2 or 1. Which is essentially really good. He also feels like a finished product. He doesn't feel like the other characters in the game. Like even though he's not top tier, he does not feel incomplete. He feels complete. And in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I don't think any character that's DLC that's not Mortal Kombat should be anything higher than A tier. I think every DLC should be like B tier at least. I think they should just be characters that are fun to use rather than seeing this character in grand finals. And the reason being is because the game is Mortal Kombat. And I think it's kind of embarrassing that your best character is a DLC character. It makes it obvious that it's pay to win or pay to play. And again, I think the title is Mortal Kombat, so I'd rather see Mortal Kombat characters playing rather than seeing like Homelander or Peacemaker or Ghostface versus Homelander in grand finals at Evo for Mortal Kombat. I'd rather see some of the base roster characters kind of being the best characters or just duking it out in the grand finals. That's just my opinion. But he does feel extremely good, but he also has different ways that you can beat this character. And I think he has more losing matchups than winning matchups. But again, depending on who you are, you can actually make this character work. I don't think everyone's going to be able to do it. And I think it's also going to be very frustrating when you have to chase certain characters around the screen. So it's going to require a lot of patient, neutral, and it's going to teach you a lot. But I don't know if people are ready for that. But the players who do stick around with this character, I believe it's going to teach you a lot of great fundamentals. But at the same time, it's going to be very frustrating playing this character. So don't give yourself a hard time. Anyway, I think that's about it for this video. I hope you guys like and leave a comment below. And even if you don't like the video, just let me know what I need to improve on or some of the things that I have left out. All right.